My beloved child, my final counsel to you is this. Stop before everything goes too far. You are caught in a trap disguised by familiar thoughts, the belief that you're late, lost, or have failed. But that is the sweet deception of a wounded mind. I want you to listen carefully to these 5 truths. If you ignore them, you won't just lose your peace, you will lose yourself. I see you struggling with a weariness even you can't explain. Your prayers feel dry, and your once burning faith now lies like cold ash. You haven't lost me, but you are forgetting how to recognize me amid the noise within. Remember Jeremiah the prophet who wept amid the ruins of Jerusalem. He once said, "My soul remembers it well and is bowed down within me." Lamentations 3:2-0. Yet even in the deepest pit of despair, he declared, "Yet I still dare to hope." Like you, he thought all good things had abandoned him. But I had not left him, and I have not left you. You are not imprisoned by your circumstances, but by the thoughts you've allowed to linger in your heart for too long. Voices that whisper, "You're not enough, you've missed your chance." God no longer remembers you. These are not my voice. They are shadows creeping in as you let go of truth. I have not dimmed my light, but your mind has drawn the curtains and called it night. You think I am silent, but in truth you're surrounded by echoes of past failures. You expect an immediate answer while I am laying the foundation for something only you can walk into. Every closed door, every broken relationship, every seemingly wrong turn, it's all part of the blueprint. But if you're not awake to it, you'll call blessing a burden and label waiting as abandonment. I do not love you less because you are confused. I do not withdraw because you are weary. But I am waiting for one thing, honesty. I don't need you to return in perfection. Just bring me your most tangled parts. I want you to release the pressure to take off the mask of effort. I don't need your performance, I need your truth. And from that very place of weakness, I will lead you back to where the light never went out. My child, I see you slowly labeling your journey with names that did not come from me. You say I went the wrong way, I'm not fast enough. Maybe God no longer wants me to do this. But you don't realize not every rough road is a wrong turn, and not every silence is rejection. I've seen your quiet efforts, your whispered prayers through tears. You call these years stagnant and empty, but I call them formative. And I want you to relearn how to see yourself not through the lens of failure, but through the eyes of someone being shaped. A seed buried in the ground may believe it has been buried to die, but in truth, it has been planted. In the same way, those moments when you feel like you are not growing or progressing are when the roots of faith are digging deeper into the earth. You don't need to bloom instantly to prove you're alive. I'm not looking for sparkle, I look to the roots no one sees. I don't expect you to flourish every day. I rejoice simply because you remain faithful to your promise, even on days when your soul is shrouded in fog. And that alone, not outer success, is the true sign of growth. Do not be quick to call my shaping delay. You think you've been slowed down because of a mistake, but there are paths you cannot rush through, because if you go too fast, you'll miss the treasures I've hidden along the way. Some lessons can only be understood in stillness. Some depths are only discovered by those who are willing to stay. I am not angry with you for moving slowly. I only fear that you'll misjudge your own journey and let go just when I'm about to move. You've blamed yourself for not doing enough, not believing enough, not being strong enough, but you don't have to be enough for me to love you. My love isn't based on your pace or performance. When you believe that not accomplishing means worthless, you've fallen into a subtle trap set by the world. It teaches that your value is based on what you can produce, but I say, even when you've done nothing, you are mine. So don't call seasons without applause meaningless, for it may be during those very seasons that I am writing the most profound chapters of your life. At last, I invite you to rename the season you're in. Instead of calling it failure, call it formation. Instead of thinking you're stuck, believe you are being prepared. I have never abandoned you mid-story. You are a masterpiece being shaped by the master's hand. And one day you will see not a single part of this journey was wasted, as long as your hand remains in mine. I know your heart holds silent burdens you haven't spoken aloud. You try to do well, behave rightly, live as an example, but all of it to prove you are worthy. I see you straining for approval not only from others but from me. You think I am watching from a distance, waiting for you to perfect yourself before I can fully love you, but you're wrong. I never loved you because you achieved something. I love you because you are mine. My love for you doesn't follow your actions, it precedes even your first breath. Do you remember Jacob? He wrestled through the night with an angel, trying to secure a blessing through his own strength. He didn't realize what he longed for couldn't be won by force but through surrender. And you too, you wrestle with yourself with the expectation to become someone, to do something big. But like Jacob, you will one day understand. My blessing isn't found in your might, but in letting me rename you from a wanderer to one who is chosen. In Genesis 3:2-8, I said to Jacob, "Your name will no longer be Jacob but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome." Victory wasn't in strength, it was in a transfer of identity. And that is what you need now. My child, every time you try to please others, I know that deep inside you still doubt your worth. I know that isn't easy to overcome, especially when you've been hurt by rejection, judgment, or comparison. But I want you to believe this: you don't have to win the race of approval. You don't need to impress anyone, because I have already called you mine long before this world came to be. My choice was never based on your performance, it came from the love I placed on you from the beginning. I see how you pressure yourself to achieve, to prove, to never fail. But you were not made to live like a machine. I did not create you to be a replica of perfection, but a testimony of grace. Your weakness doesn't surprise me. It is exactly where my power is revealed. When you start laying down those heavy burdens, you will feel light, not because the work is done, but because you've realized you don't need to be perfect to be loved. I want you to pause and breathe, not because you're lazy, but because you've forgotten the rhythm of life. I do not love your accomplishments, I love you. And you don't need to climb high to reach me, for I have already come low to embrace you. Don't live your life as if you must strive to be worthy. You are already worthy, not because of anything you've done, but because I have chosen you, redeemed you, and called you by name. My beloved child, I know you are still carrying within you things you wish you had never done. Memories play over and over in your mind like a sorrowful film with no ending. You revisit the wrong choices, the failures, the people you've hurt, and you believe they define you. But dear one, the past is a place to learn from, not a place to live in. You have already walked out of it, but it lingers only because you have not yet been willing to forgive yourself. I do not want you to continue defining yourself by the things I forgave long ago. Do you know the story of Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan? He was once a prince, but an accident left him crippled as a child, and he lived hidden away, carrying shame and feeling unworthy. When David became king, Mephibosheth was afraid, thinking the king would condemn him. But do you know what happened? David, because of his love for Mephibosheth's father, did not just forgive him, but restored his honor and invited him to dine forever at the king's table as one of his own sons. Mephibosheth did nothing to earn such restoration, but he received it all the same. I want you to see yourself in that story. Just as in 2 Samuel 9:7, David said, "Do not fear, for I will surely show you kindness for the sake of your father, Jonathan. I will restore to you all the land that belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you will always eat at my table." You don't need to be perfect to sit at the table of grace. You only need to accept that I have chosen you to be there. My child, I know there are things you've done that make you feel as though you've stepped beyond my love. But listen carefully. No mistake, no fall, no betrayal, whether committed by you or against you, can ever erase your true identity in me. You may have forgotten, but I have never withdrawn my calling over you as beloved, forgiven, chosen. If I, the Holy One, have washed you with the blood of my Son, why then do you still hold on to old verdicts and punish yourself day after day? I see those moments when you try to live better, not out of love for righteousness, but out of a desperate attempt to make amends. You live as though you must redeem something, as though you owe me a perfect life to cancel your old failures. But that, dear one, does not come from me. I am not demanding payment. My Son has already paid in full. What I am waiting for is not self-punishment, but surrender into grace. I want you to lay down the burden of old sin and believe this: if I have cast it into the depths of the sea, then you no longer need to dredge it up each morning. You are a new creation, not because you've tried hard to forget the old, but because I have made all things new. You cannot change what happened, but you can refuse to let the past have the final word about who you are. In me, you have the right to say, "That was who I was, but I am no longer that person." And it is in the moment you dare to step out of the cloak of shame that you will find me waiting ahead with a new robe, a new name, and an unwritten journey. I have never stopped calling you, it's just that you've been too focused on what lies behind to realize I've been walking right beside you all along. My child, I see your eyes each time you glance at others. I see the moments you fall silent, not out of peace, but because your heart is in turmoil. You look at their lives more successful, more joyful, more complete, and begin to believe something in you is lacking, delayed, or broken. But you don't realize you are only seeing a part of the picture, the part they show to the world. You don't see what they're wrestling with, the pressures they bear, the burdens they dare not speak aloud. I see it all theirs and yours, and I declare your life does not need to look like anyone else's to be valuable. I did not create you to be a copy. You are not the product of some mass assembly line. You are an intentional design with purpose, with timing, with a unique way of moving through this world. Every step you take, every pause you make, every detail I've placed within you has meaning. Not everyone needs to understand you, and not every journey earns applause. But what matters most is this: you are walking the path I uniquely crafted for you. Do not rush ahead just because someone else seems further along. Do not belittle your worth because their fruit came faster. Do you not know that some of the greatest things bloom late, and when they do, they are unlike any other flower? You've asked, why haven't I arrived like they have? Why am I still here when they are already there? I do not fault you for asking. Those questions I understand. But I long for you to live with trust instead of comparison. For every time you compare, you use someone else's measure to define your worth, and that measure was never made for you. You are an original design. No one else can walk your path but you, and no one else can receive what I have set apart for you but you. I do not count your steps the way the world measures success. I see every faithful heartbeat, every trembling step forward, every moment you keep going even when no one applauds. Those things are more precious than any comparison. I do not need you to be faster, smarter, or more dazzling than others. I only need you to be you, to walk in trust, not under the pressure of proving anything. You will not hear my voice if your ears are always tuned to the applause of people. My beloved, learn to be grateful for your journey. Even if it isn't dazzling, even if it looks unlike any other, even if it's quiet at times, it is the very place where I meet you. And wherever I meet you is always the place where miracles begin. So stop looking sideways, dear one. Look at me. Look at the path I'm unfolding beneath your feet. Though it may be small, though it may be slow, it will surely lead you home. My child, I know there are times when your mind feels like a wild field where negative thoughts grow thick and crowd out the light. You didn't plant them on purpose, but weariness, distraction, and too many hard things have left you with little strength to sift through them. Regret, fear, shame, insecurity, they cling to you. And before you know it, they grow unchecked, bearing fruit in the form of sorrow, tension, and a long, slow ache of failure. But child, I did not design your mind to be a dwelling place for darkness. I designed it to be a sanctuary for truth. You are not a victim of your thoughts. Your mind is not a river flowing wild beyond your control. I have given you power not to fight thoughts in your own strength, but to choose which ones stay. Each time a negative thought surfaces, you can pause and ask, does this come from God? Does this reflect what He has said about me? If the answer is no, then you don't need to keep it. I have given you tools, my promises, my word, my spirit, so you can take those thoughts captive and bring them into obedience to truth. I do not expect you to master your mind perfectly every day. There will be days you feel weak, your thoughts tangled, your emotions unsteady. But what matters is, do you know how to return? Do you know how to stop and say, I choose to believe what God says, not what my mind whispers? You can't stop birds from flying over your head, but you can keep them from nesting in your soul. Begin each day not with what if or if only, but with this declaration: Lord, today I let your truth be the loudest voice in my mind. Renewing your mind doesn't happen overnight. It is a process, a journey you must walk with perseverance. But I promise if you hold to my word as your foundation, the seeds I've planted will begin to sprout slowly, replacing every root of fear, shame, and doubt. Over time, you won't need to try so hard to think positively. Positivity will arise naturally because it is rooted in truth, and once your mind is anchored in truth, it will no longer be a battlefield, but a resting place of peace. So, don't give up when old thoughts still pull at you. Every time you choose truth, you lay another stone in the foundation of your mind. Every time you say no to fear and yes to peace, you are doing the work of a soul maturing in me, and I rejoice in that. I do not need you to control everything. I only need you to return each time your mind begins to wander. For I myself will renew you from the inside out, if only you will let me. My beloved child, pause for a moment right now. I am not in a hurry. I am not urging you to be better, not demanding you to be stronger. I simply want you to breathe slowly and feel this. I am here. Not far away, not cold or distant or hard to grasp, but close, closer than your breath, closer than the stream of thoughts racing through your mind. I do not look at you with demanding eyes. I look at you with the tenderness of a father who has seen every wound in your heart and has never turned away. You don't need to brace yourself to be worthy. You don't have to pretend to be okay. I know you're tired. Tired of holding everything together, tired of hiding the storms inside behind a calm face. But dear one, I have never loved you less on the days you are weak. In fact, in the moments you fall apart, I long even more to hold you, because I know behind your silence is a cry for help. And I have heard it, all of it. You've learned to keep silent for fear of judgment. You've grown used to suppressing emotion, thinking I only accept the polished parts of you. But no, my child, I do not love the perfect version you're striving to become. I love you as you are in your mess with your unresolved questions, with the things you've never told a soul. That is the truth. I don't ask you to come to me put together, I ask you to come honestly. Even if all you bring are broken pieces, I will not turn you away. I know there are wounds you've never spoken aloud. Old injuries that still bleed quietly when the night comes. I see the moments of anger not because you're irreverent, but because you don't understand why things happened as they did. I know there are times you've asked God, where are you really, and then felt guilty for even asking. But hear me now, I am not offended by your questions. I am not hurt by your doubt. I am only grieved that you've been hurting alone when I have always been right here with open arms. My child, you've lived for so long with the mindset of having to control everything. You've believed that if you were more careful, more obedient, more competent, then everything would be okay. But I did not create you to control, I created you to trust. You were not designed to hold the whole world in your hands. That was never part of your blueprint. That's why when you try to do so, you end up exhausted, confused, and unsettled. You are wrestling with things beyond your capacity, while I am standing right here ready to carry them with you. Do not be afraid of feeling weak. Do not be ashamed of not understanding the plan. I never asked you to comprehend everything. I simply invited you to trust me, simply as a child trusts the arms of their father. And even when you don't have the strength to believe, just come. Sometimes coming to me is not a bold act, it's a sigh, a tear-filled glance upward. I see that. I do not overlook it. Do you know, often the very armor you put on the cloak of logic, the demand to be strong, the need to be worthy, is what keeps you furthest from me. I never asked you to be skilled at managing your emotions. I only asked you to be honest. Bring me what you think is shameful. Bring me the anger you're hiding. Bring me the disappointments and the unanswered questions. I can handle them all. There is nothing in you that would make me turn away. On the contrary, I have stooped lower than you think, so you may see that there is no pit too deep for my love to reach. You think that if you don't speak it, I won't know. But I have seen not just your actions, but even the thoughts you dared not put into words. I am not watching from afar, passively observing. I am involved. I am present. I intervene more than you realize. Yet what I honor is the freedom I placed within you. I do not force you to return, but I am always waiting for you to come back. Not with hands full of achievements to prove, but simply with the courage to say, I'm tired. I need you. When you lay down the burdens I never asked you to carry, you will feel light not just in your body but in your soul. For my burden is light, my yoke is gentle. What makes it so is not that it's easy, but that I carry it with you. You are not alone in this battle. You have never been alone even when your feelings tried to convince you otherwise. There will be moments when you stumble right after getting back up. There will be days when you feel like you're starting over again. But don't be discouraged. Every time you rise, even trembling, you conquer something within yourself. And I see it all. No step is wasted. No tear is in vain. I hold each one, every sigh, every unspoken ache, and I will use them to write something more beautiful than you ever expected. You may not have believed that until now. Maybe these words are new to you, or maybe they are things you've always known but never dared to fully believe. But today I invite you to believe again, not with logic but with the weariness in your soul. Believe like someone ready to give up but who hears a gentle voice behind them. Believe like a door opening after years of being locked. Believe like a lost child who suddenly sees the porch light still on. My child, I do not keep a record of your failures. I keep the memory of every moment you chose to return. I do not count how many times you've gotten it wrong. I see how many times you've still dared to draw near, and that is what brings me joy. You do not need to change to be loved. It is because you are loved that you will be changed. My love does not follow transformation. It precedes it, and it is what transforms you. So today, stop trying to be worthy and start walking in trust. My child, there are things in me that your eyes have not yet seen and your ears have not yet heard. These things are not ahead of you in terms of time or achievement. They are within you where only stillness, quiet, and rest will allow you to perceive them. I know you're impatient. I know you've waited long. I know there are days when you don't want to open your eyes, when you don't want to go on. But it is in those very days that I am closer to you than ever. Not when you are strong, but when you are broken, I am fully present. You think you need a miracle to escape your situation, but what you truly need is enough trust to realize that I am the miracle, not the circumstance, not the outcome, not the open door, but my presence within the unknown. I know your faith has grown weary in the long waiting. I see you not just outwardly, but in the depths of your silent thoughts. You haven't dared to tell anyone that you've doubted, that you've felt it was all meaningless, that your prayers felt like echoes returning to you. But I have never condemned you. In fact, I understand your exhaustion more than you realize. I don't expect a faith that's always burning bright. I just desire a heart that doesn't give up. You may tremble, question, cry because you can't make sense of the path you're on. Just don't turn away from me. Tell me everything, because I am not offended by your disappointment. I can embrace even what you think is the ugliest part of your heart. The more honest you are, the closer I draw. Don't let the silence make you think I've forgotten you. Silence does not mean absence. Sometimes silence is the most tender language I use to carve out space for your soul to grow. Within that silence, I am deepening the foundation of your faith. If you listen closely, you'll realize I'm not far. I'm engraving every promise into your being. Promises not just to comfort you now, but to sustain you when you step into what I have already ordained. If I gave it to you too soon, you wouldn't be able to hold it. But if you let me prepare you, nothing can take away what I've placed in your hands. You keep asking, when, Lord? When will things change? And I keep answering with something very different. Let me change you first. Not because I'm slow, but because I'm careful. You are not merely one who will walk through the door I open. You are the one who will carry my light into that place. And you cannot do that if your heart is still burdened with fear, doubt, and the pressure to please everyone. I need you to walk not with urgency, but with understanding. Not from a place of needing to prove your worth, but from a place of gratitude. Not in fear of rejection, but with the assurance that you have been chosen. You once believed that your life would only begin when the door opened. But my dear one, I want you to understand this. Your life does not begin with external events. It begins with what is being formed inside. I am shaping you through the waiting. I am teaching you to rest in my presence instead of chasing answers. If you can learn that whether the door opens or not, you will still live fully, you will no longer depend on outcomes to feel loved. You will stop seeing delays as failure. And you will come to realize some seasons of waiting are the reward because in them you learn to be near me without conditions. Imagine a potter shaping clay. He is not impatient with the time it takes to form it. He is patient because he knows he is crafting not something temporary but a masterpiece. And if he needs to reshape, stretch, or remove what was previously molded, it's not because he doesn't love the work, it's because he loves it too much to let it go into the fire unfinished. I am the same, my child. I cannot let you walk into what I've prepared while your inner self is still fragile, still easily swayed. I don't just want you to cross the threshold. I want you to stand strong beyond it, living in the fullness of what I have called you to. There are things that even if I explain now, you would not yet understand. And I don't need you to understand everything, I just need you to trust me. Trust that I am not withholding good from you. Trust that if I say not yet, it's because I'm thinking of something better than what you are hoping for. Trust that even when no one else sees the changes inside you, I do. Trust that the silent tears, the prayers whispered in the night do not vanish into emptiness. I hold each one. I remember every moment. No act of trust, no matter how small, is meaningless to me. And when the time I have appointed comes, not sooner, not later, you will walk through the door you once thought would remain closed forever. But this time, you will not be the same. Not fragile, anxious, or forgetful of me when things go well. You will walk through as one who has known disorientation yet held on to faith, as one who saw no light yet kept walking. And because of that, you will be able to hold what I give. For you will not only have received grace, you will have been trained to live within it. So my child, keep trusting me, even if the path ahead is unclear, even when your emotions are unpredictable, even when others can't understand why you're still waiting. I don't need everyone to understand your calling, I just need you to believe that it is I who called you. And I never call anyone without preparing them for what I'm about to do. Don't draw conclusions simply because things aren't moving the way you want. Some seasons are quiet, uneventful, lacking any external sign, yet they are the most crucial for laying the foundation within you. You may feel like you're falling behind, forgotten in a world that keeps rushing forward, but I tell you this, you are not falling behind, you are being nurtured. You are not being delayed, you are being established. I know it's hard to see others move ahead while your heart still waits. I do not fault you for feeling discouraged, because long silences can make you wonder, have you abandoned me? But my dear one, my silence is not absence. When you hear nothing, that is often when I am working most behind the curtain you cannot see. I do not need to speak to be present. My presence is greater than your emotions. I want you to know that not every step forward can be seen. Some roots grow deep silently beneath the ground for many seasons before a single sprout breaks the surface. And so it is with your soul, some things must take root deeply before the winds come so you will not fall. The lessons of waiting are not meant to break you, but to prepare you for what I'm about to entrust to you. If I give it too soon, it might harm you. I don't just want to bless you, I want you to be strong enough to keep the blessing. I see you counting the days, the months, even the years. You remember the timelines you set for yourself and feel disappointed when they pass without fulfillment. But my child, I don't write your story according to earthly schedules. I don't operate by the ticking of a clock, I move by substance. When you are strong enough within, the right thing will come at the right time. I don't just see your today, I see the entire span of your life from beginning to end. I am never late. And I am never early. I arrive right on time, and when I do, nothing can stop what I have ordained. There have been many times you thought you were lost, but in truth you were simply walking a path no one had ever spoken of before. No one else has a journey identical to yours. So why compare and judge yourself by someone else's story? You are a unique design, and therefore there are specific seasons prepared just for you, distinct doorways and sacred grounds I marked for you long before you were formed in your mother's womb. Not one of your slow, hesitant steps escapes my notice. On the contrary, I treasure each moment you continue to hold on to faith in silence. You may be thinking I've wasted so many years. But to me, nothing is wasted when placed in my hands. The years you thought were lost I can restore. The opportunities you assumed had passed I can reopen in newer, better ways. You cannot turn back time, but I am the one who makes all things new, who brings beauty from what was broken and worth from what you wish you could forget. Let me touch that dark place within you, the hidden corner, where regrets dwell, where what-ifs echo, where past mistakes haunt. I have not come to condemn you. I have come to heal you. My child, sometimes I allow you to fall, not because I desire your pain, but because it is in your lowest moments that you finally look up and realize I was always there. When you hit rock bottom, it is not the end, it is the foundation. Right where you feel shattered is where I begin to build. What once broke you, I can use as the very groundwork for dignity, for compassion, for a new resilience. And one day when you rise from the ashes, others will see strength, but only you and I will know that it was built upon every moment you chose not to give up. You are still here, and that means I'm not finished with you yet. Don't let the feeling of being too late blind you to what I'm about to do. Nothing is ever too late for me. I am not limited by your age, nor by the string of failures behind you. If you're still breathing, hope is still alive in your chest. And when you're ready to believe again, that hope will blossom into strength. You once thought you had been overlooked, but the truth is, you were being protected. Doors didn't close because you were unworthy, but because I was clearing the path ahead so you wouldn't lose your way. There were things you asked for that I withheld, not out of denial, but because I saw what you could not. I don't just hear your prayers, I listen to the silence between them, the moments when you don't even know what to ask anymore. Even your sigh reaches me. And I remember, don't be afraid if your present doesn't feel like a fresh beginning. The best stories are often written after the parts that seemed like the end. The deepest souls are often the ones who have fallen the hardest. And my dear one, I am not ashamed of your wounds. I want you to know I will not leave you in the middle of an unfinished chapter. I am the author and I have full authority to continue writing. You will not be stuck in this season forever. I am writing a new chapter, and it begins with you choosing to believe once more. So even if you don't know what to do next, just do one thing. Don't walk away from me. Stay. Stay in my love. Stay grounded in my promises. Stay in the quiet rhythm of peace that I offer. Don't chase the rushed call of the world. Don't grasp for something just to fill the emptiness. Wait for me, and you will see what I've prepared for you far exceeds anything you've ever hoped for. You were never the last. You are not the forgotten one. You are the one being shaped, and you are about to witness the wonder that comes from not giving up. This season is not the end, it is the place of planting. And if you keep holding on to the truth, tending to your thoughts with my word, keeping your heart tender before me, you will see the harvest come in a way that no one can stop. My beloved child, as you read these words, I want you to pause. Let your heart be still. Quiet the noise in your mind and listen closely to my voice, gentle, unhurried, but earnest. Perhaps you've heard me many times in the past during worship, in earnest prayer, in moments of miracle. But today I am not only calling you back to a spiritual experience, I am inviting you into a real life with me, moment by moment, breath by breath. You often think I am only present when you're doing well or when your heart feels passionate. But my child, I have been there even in your weakest days. In the moments you felt dry, useless, unworthy, I was still there. I didn't turn away my loving gaze. I didn't leave you because your passion faded. I do not love your efforts more than I love you. I love you, not the ideal version you strive to become, but you with your broken soul, tired eyes, and unanswered questions. You in this very moment are the one I long to draw near to. I know your heart wavers. I know there are days you wake up without a single prayer on your lips. I see the times you hide under the covers to escape yourself, the world, and sometimes even me. But I have never left that room. When others forget, when you're aching for recognition, when you have nothing left to cling to, I am still your refuge. Not a single tear of yours is wasted. Not one disappointment is dismissed by me. I don't require you to be strong to come close. It's in your weakness that I can do what you cannot restore you from the inside out. I long for you to live honestly with me. Don't put on religious robes to come near. I'm not moved by polished prayers, I'm touched by your honest sighs. I don't need perfect rituals, I desire a sincere heart. Do you know, the things you think are too small, too mundane, not worth praying about are exactly the things I want to step into. Your silent worries, your inner conflicts, the things you believe no one understands. I not only understand, I'm inviting you to let me carry them with you. Let me walk with you in even the smallest things. Invite me into your mornings the very first moment your eyes open. Let me be the first one you think of, not out of duty, but out of the natural longing of a child for the Father who is always there. Let me be there in the everyday moments, as you wash the dishes, drive your car, go about your work. I do not wait for you at the pulpit or only appear in worship songs or gatherings. I am present in the simplest of things wherever your heart opens to me, even with just a glance toward heaven. My dear child, I want more than your service. I want your heart. I don't need your complete dedication in order to love you. I need you to know you are loved and then live from that place. My love doesn't start when you behave well, and it doesn't end when you are weak. My love is not altered by your emotions. It does not rise and fall with your spiritual highs and lows. It is steadfast because it doesn't rely on you. It rests on me. Let me into even the places you've hidden, the memories you've buried, the wounds you pretend have healed. I am not afraid of the mess. I do not recoil from your shame. It is those very places that need me most. I don't come in to judge, I come in to heal. I don't use truth to crush you. I use it to break your chains. You don't need to clean up before you invite me in. You only need to open the door. I will do the rest. You still think you are only loved when your faith is strong. But child, I chose you when you were still weak. I called your name before you ever did anything. I placed my hope in you not because of your promises, but because I am faithful, the one who keeps every word. When you fall, I don't look away. When you are disappointed in yourself, I am not disappointed in you. I want you to know one thing: I am still here, still waiting, still calling, and I will not stop calling until you return, not just for a moment of repentance, but to walk with me every day. You are not the bearer of a religion. You are the one invited into relationship, into closeness, into attachment, into a journey together. I did not create you to visit me in times of need, then withdraw when the storm has passed. I made you to remain in me like a branch connected to the vine. I long to be your rhythm, your breath, your home. This relationship isn't reserved for emergencies, it is your life. It's the part of you that cannot be separated if you want to truly live. And my child, if you've ever felt not close enough to God, remember this: I am always the one who seeks. It wasn't you who came near to me, it was I who came to you, who searched for you, who knocked on the door of your heart. My love does not ask you to climb upward to reach it. I stepped down. I descended into the depths of your life to lift you up. There is no distance I will not cross if only you would say, please stay. So don't only invite me in when you've run out of options. Don't call for me only on the darkest days. I want to be there when you rejoice, when you dream, when you try, when you live your ordinary life. I want to share both laughter and tears. I want to be your dwelling place, not just a temporary shelter. Don't live as though I'm a distant, busy, unapproachable God. I am Father, companion, closest friend, the one who loves you more than anyone ever could. Therefore today, if you still hear my voice, do not ignore it. Let your heart soften. Open the doors of your soul, even the rooms no one else has ever entered. Let me come in fully, without holding back, without limitation. I do not promise you a life without hardship, but I do promise this: you will never walk alone. Not for a single moment will I leave your side. I began with you, and I will complete the good work I started. You only need one thing: remain in me. My beloved child, when you sit beside me like this, heart open, mind stilled, it is in these very moments that I can deposit into you truths that transcend feelings, that go beyond understanding. I do not merely want you to walk into the promises I have prepared, but to learn how to walk in the power I have placed within you. This is not a loud, showy, worldly power, but a quiet, unshakable strength, the kind that is born from knowing who you are in me. You were created in my image, not just a beautiful title, but a profound reality. Within you is the capacity to think, to imagine, to create, and to speak things not yet seen as though they are. What you often dismiss as just a thought is actually the beginning of every transformation in your life. Your mind is not an empty space. It is where I long to dwell with you, shaping a new reality together. Every thought you choose to hold, every word you speak, every belief you carry, these are seeds. And in time, whether you realize it or not, they will bear fruit. I have seen how anxiety clouds your mind and how your life loses rhythm. I have seen how lingering sorrow dims the light in your eyes. But I have also seen the moments you choose hope without a clear reason, and in that moment the atmosphere around you begins to shift. That is true power, not what you hold in your hand, but what you nurture in your heart. So today I remind you, your mind is not a wasteland. It is a garden I long to tend. And what you sow, whether love or fear, peace or chaos, will grow in due time. You are not a victim. You are not powerless. Even if you are walking through a dark season, know this: the darkness cannot stop the light rising within you. You are not waiting in vain. Every moment you sit with me, listen to me, and align your thoughts with truth, you are being transformed. Others may not see it right away, but I do. I know that when your mind chooses hope, your heart grows stronger. I know that when you refuse to feed bitterness, the air around you becomes pure. And I know when you believe my word still stands, even what seemed dead in your life will come back to life. My child, you have never been as small as others made you feel. I have placed within you not just potential, but power. The power to choose truth over lies. The power to believe what I say about you instead of what your circumstances shout. The power to hold peace in the midst of chaos and to keep walking when everything tells you to stop. You have the right to step into the land I promised, not because you earned it, but because I gave it to you long ago. And if you do not enter, it is not because the door is closed, but because you haven't yet believed enough to walk through it. Do not underestimate the power of your mind. Do not take lightly the small choices each day, choosing to forgive while the wound is still fresh, choosing to love while doubts still linger, choosing to give thanks when things have yet to align. These small acts, they are the foundation upon which you will stand in every battle. You are not exempt from trials, but I have equipped you with strength to not be crushed by them. The life I placed within you is stronger than the fear pressing upon you. I do not promise you will always feel strong, but I promise you will never be alone. Begin to tend your mind as you would a precious garden. Uproot seeds of doubt, shame, comparison, and bitterness. Every negative thought you hold onto takes you a step away from who I've called you to be. But every renewed thought, every declaration of truth, every time you choose to continue, is a step closer to the wholeness I designed for you. Nothing is wasted with me. Even the quiet process of renewal within you, it is forming a new being, one that even you will be amazed to look back on. You don't have to wait for circumstances to change to start living by my word. It is when you believe truth in the absence of clarity that I begin to shift the situation. It is when you dare to speak life into barrenness that I cause wheat to grow from cracked ground. It is when you let me fully inhabit your mind that you will see resurrection power is not far off, it is already moving within you. And when that happens, circumstances will no longer define you. You will begin to shape the world around you. So, my child, don't live as if you have no choice. I have given you the power to choose what lives in your heart. Not every thought deserves to stay. Not every feeling is worthy of safekeeping. Be brave and cast them out. Be persistent and nurture what is good. Be watchful and guard what I have planted. And then you will see day by day your life begin to change, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. I see you. I am still moving. I am still speaking. And I have never forgotten what I promised. Your best days are not behind you. They are drawing nearer every time you choose to trust me. The purpose you carry has not diminished with time. It is being reshaped and refined. And the call I placed upon your life, it still echoes, still resounds, still waits for your answer. I want you to begin guarding your mind like a sacred garden. Do not let any seed take root unless it comes from me. You cannot control every thought that passes by, but you can choose which ones take root. You can discern which ideas carry hidden toxins, even when they are disguised as reason, responsibility, or realism. Sometimes they say things that sound true, like "I'll never make it," "everyone leaves me," or "God probably chose someone else but my child." Just because something sounds true doesn't mean it is truth. Only what aligns with my word is truth, and truth always sets you free. It never weighs you down. I want you to start identifying these voices. When a thought comes and leaves you anxious, withdrawn, weary, or numb, pause and ask, does this thought carry life? Does it lead me closer to peace? If not, then it is not from me. Do not agree with what draws you away from my rest. You were not designed to live with a chaotic mind. I have given you a spirit of power, of love, and of sound mind. When you live from that foundation, your words will change, your direction will change, your responses will change. And in that shift, circumstances begin to move, not because the world changes, but because you have been renewed from within. Thoughts are the starting point of everything in life. Every major decision, every minor reaction, every relationship flows from what you believe deep in your heart. The more your thoughts align with truth, the closer you walk to the life I've designed for you. A life not free from trials, but anchored through them. You will no longer be tossed by emotional waves. Right thinking leads to healthy emotions. Healthy emotions lead to steady actions, and sustained actions rooted in truth build an unshakable life. Never underestimate the power of a single thought. A gentle whisper in your mind can be the beginning of freedom or the start of a new chain. That is why I call you into the journey of mastering your thoughts, not by sheer will, but by continual connection with me. Come near to me each day. Hear my voice in Scripture, in stillness, in the whisper of my spirit. When your thoughts are founded on truth, you will quickly recognize lies, no matter how reasonable they seem. I do not promise it will always be easy. Some days you'll feel like you're moving backwards. At times you'll be disappointed in yourself. But do not lose heart. I do not wait for your perfection to begin moving. The moment you say, "Lord, I don't want to live in these lies anymore," I lean down to help you rebuild. No thought is too far gone to be redeemed. No pattern too rooted for the Spirit to renew. And most importantly, you do not walk this journey alone. Remember, your mind is not a dwelling place for the enemy. It is a temple for my presence. So do not let the voices of failure, shame, or unworthiness sit on the throne of your heart. I am inviting you to cast them down, not by striving, but by my word. You will learn to declare what I say even when your feelings haven't caught up. That is faith. That is maturity. And as you practice this, continually thoughts will shift, habits will change, old walls will fall. I know you've lived under old thought patterns for so long that change feels exhausting. But my child, a renewed life does not come through haste. It comes through steady steps, daily choices, choosing forgiveness over resentment, hope over discouragement, truth over assumption. When you choose this path, your mind becomes fertile soil, where good things can take root and bear fruit. Believe me when I say, I am not only changing what's around you, I am transforming what's within you. And that inner world, when reshaped by truth, will birth life into everything outside. No one can do that part for you. But you are never alone in the process. I, the one who began a good work in you, will be faithful to complete it, not because you are strong enough, but because I never break a promise. So from today, my child, do not let your mind remain an unguarded battlefield. Rise up gently but firmly and begin exchanging each thought with my word. Learn to pause and ask, where is this coming from? Does it lead to life? Does it bring peace? If not, reject it. And as you do this consistently, you will find yourself walking in freedom, not just emotionally, but in your very being. For when the mind is renewed, everything else will follow. Be careful what you let your mind feast on each day. The things you believe, the sounds you let echo in your heart, the images you hold inside, these are the seeds that will bloom into your destiny. If you keep clinging to voices of denial, if you keep listening to whispers of failure, if you let invisible chains from the past bind your present, then even when I open the door, you won't dare walk through. Not because I didn't prepare the way, but because your mind no longer has the strength to believe good is possible. But I have placed in your hands a powerful gift, the ability to choose what stays in your mind and what doesn't. You can let lies rule, or you can drive them out with my truth. You can let fear cloud your vision, or you can choose to see the world through eyes of grace. I do not want you to live one more day as if you are unloved, unworthy, or forgotten. You are not stuck. You are not excluded. You are in the process of being rebuilt, and it is the renewing of your mind that will open the door to the new life. And do you know what? That transformation doesn't come because you try harder, it comes because you choose to believe differently. Believe that I am real. Believe that my word is enough. Believe that you can begin again, not perfectly, but honestly. You don't need to see the whole path to take the next step. Just take it and let me be the light that guides you forward. So let go of the thoughts that have worn down your soul. Don't hold on to words I never spoke. Don't anchor your identity in fleeting feelings or old failures. Come back. Let me wash your mind clean with truth day by day, thought by thought, step by step. And you will see when your mind is renewed, the world around you will no longer cause panic. When your thoughts are grounded in my word, you will live not from striving but from trust. My beloved child, if your mind is saturated with what I have spoken, if every thought, every emotion, every reaction is washed and soaked in the truth I give, then even if the storms rage outside, you will still be able to stand firm within. When you allow my word to become the soil where your thoughts take root, you will begin to see light in what once seemed like darkness, find courage in the face of what others fear, and preserve peace, even when you don't understand what is happening. I do not say this as some abstract idea. This is a reality for those who let me reign from within. My child, your mind is not a harmless, empty space. It is a battlefield where silent wars take place each day. In that space, every word you've ever heard, every memory you've stored, every unresolved worry, they are all contending for control. And if you do not choose which voice to trust, the world will impose its own softly, constantly, little by little. That is why I do not only ask you to surrender what you do, I am inviting you to surrender what you think, because right there, where no one else sees, is the starting point of all you will become. Understand this: actions are never random. A lifestyle is never accidental. It is formed from what you believe. And belief, my dear one, begins in the mind. If a wrong thought is fed long enough, it will shape your emotions, influence your attitude, and eventually direct your life without you realizing it. But when my truth soaks through every fold of your thinking, it doesn't just adjust your feelings, it renews your very nature. That is a transformation that doesn't come through effort, but through surrender. So today, I'm not seeking a temporary shift in behavior, but a deep transformation at the root, your mind. Let me enter that territory, the one that silently decides everything but is often left unattended. Let me till the soil, uproot the seeds of doubt, fear, and shame, and plant wisdom, hope, and peace instead. No one else may see this process, but I see it, and I never stop working there as long as you allow me to lead. You can choose to make your mind a fertile ground where truth grows, or a desolate battlefield overrun by lies. The choice is yours, but I want you to know I am always ready to stand with you in those quiet battles. And if you let me, I will not only help you win, but I will turn the places that once held chaos into grounds where peace is built strong, lasting, and unshakable. My child, I know your mind is spinning with unanswered questions. I know you're sitting in the wreckage of dreams, unfulfilled relationships broken, and trust once betrayed, and you wonder how you could possibly think anything good in the midst of so much bitterness. I do not blame you for asking that. In fact, it's in those moments when you dare to ask, when you dare to be honest with your pain, that you are drawing nearer to me. Because I do not come to you through pretense, but through truth. The positive thinking I invite you into is not a thin coat of paint over a cracked wall. It's not forced optimism or a fake smile. It does not deny the reality that you have been hurt, that wrong things really have happened. But it also does not allow those broken things to define you or write the ending of your story. My kind of positive thinking stands on a firm foundation that I am still holding everything in my hands that I can use, even what was meant for harm to bring forth good, that no situation is too shattered for me to restore. You may think that being positive means brushing away your tears, but I say being positive means knowing your tears are never wasted. Every drop is remembered by me, every sigh echoes in my heart. I have never overlooked a single pain you've endured. I am transforming it bit by bit, from ashes to beauty, from loss to hope, from brokenness to testimony. Nothing you walk through will be in vain. And because of that, you can begin to think differently, feel differently, live differently. Not because everything is fine, but because you know you are no longer in it alone. Let me show you a new way to see. Instead of thinking, I can't get through this, begin to say, I don't have to go through it alone. Instead of asking, why me, try asking, Lord, what are you teaching me in this? When you start to shift your mindset, you are not denying reality, you are choosing to see it through my lens. And my lens is always full of hope because I already know the ending. I'm not leading you around in meaningless circles. Every turn, every pause, every dark path you don't yet understand, I have walked it before you. I know you may not be ready to call this day a good one. Maybe you still want to complain, still feel confused, still carry anger. And I am not in a rush. I can wait. But when you're ready, when your heart cracks open just a little, I will gently whisper into your thoughts, look again, I'm still here. And then the miracle won't come from everything outside of you changing, it will come from you changing on the inside, from the way you think, the way you believe, the way you dare to hope again. You are not required to feel joyful in the middle of hardship, but you are invited to believe that even within the hardship I can create something beautiful. Nothing is too dark for my light to break through. Nothing is too late for me to begin again. Nothing is too lost that I cannot replace it with something better, different perhaps, but better certainly. And this is the foundation of a truly positive mind, not the denial of darkness, but the recognition that light still shines and that in the end, light will win. So my child, don't try to think positively the way the world does, repeating to yourself that everything will be okay without knowing why. Think positively as someone who knows who their Father is. Think like someone who understands that my love and power are not limited by present circumstances. Think like someone who bears the identity of a child of the King, provided for, cherished, guided, and never abandoned. I invite you each day to wake up with a simple question today: which thought will I choose to live with? And each time you choose the truth that I love you, that I'm still working, that you are not invisible, you are building a new stronghold in your mind. Not a stronghold of fear, but of faith. Not a refuge of doubt, but a fortress of hope. And there in that place you will find peace. Not because the wind has stopped blowing, but because your heart is anchored in the one who cannot be shaken. Obedience is not always loud or bold, my child. Sometimes obedience is simply choosing to keep your soul quiet when everything inside you wants to scream in frustration. Sometimes it is the steady act of declaring God is still good even as you walk across cracked ground. Not because you are denying reality, but because you are standing firm in a higher one. When you choose to see beyond what is visible, when you decide to trust me, even when your emotions disagree, you are building an unshakable foundation within. And it is right there in that quiet place that I move. You once thought positive thinking was shallow, a denial of real emotions, a dreamy way of living in a chaotic world. But you were mistaken. Positive thinking, when grounded properly, is a spiritual courage. It does not say everything is fine, but it says, even when it's not, I am not alone. It doesn't erase pain, but it refuses to let pain lead. It doesn't pretend there is no wound, but it does not allow the wound to define you. I never asked you to wear a mask of optimism. I simply asked you not to forget my presence when your heart grows dim. I am not calling you to live in denial. I am calling you to live in remembrance, to remember that light still exists, that hope is not dead, that I am still writing your story even if the current page is gray. The positivity I give is not empty thought, it is an attitude of surrender. When you choose to speak life, you are saying, Lord, I agree with what you see, not just with what I see. Don't worry if your faith today is only the size of a mustard seed. A mustard seed isn't asked to be big, it is only asked to be alive. And what I can do with a small but honest faith is greater than all the world can do with strong but doubting logic. Keep that seed alive in your heart, even if it feels fragile. Because if you let me tend it, water it with my word, warm it with my presence, then from that very place unexpected fruit will grow. Faith does not need to be loud. It just needs to be real. The more you choose to speak life instead of death, the more you make room for miracles, not just around you, but first and foremost within you. A mind full of my promises is an ideal place for my spirit to work. On the other hand, when you let bitter, judgmental, or complaining voices fill your heart, they will clog the flow of my blessing. I do not punish you for those thoughts, but I grieve because you are closing the door on what I long to give. So, my child, learn to respond differently. When something doesn't go your way, instead of letting complaints slip out, pause, breathe deeply, and ask, Lord, what are you teaching me in this? When a door closes, don't rush to conclude that I have rejected you. Sometimes it is my own hand that shuts it, knowing the cliff behind it that you cannot yet see. And when others don't understand you, instead of straining to explain yourself, entrust that too to me, the one who understands everything without needing a single justification. You cannot control everything that happens in this broken world, but there is one thing you can control: what you allow to live in your mind. That is the power I have placed within you, the power to choose truth. When you choose truth, you're not being naive, you're being obedient. And that obedience is the doorway through which the miraculous begins. So from this day on, do not try to deny the darkness, but always remember, I am the light. Do not reject your emotions, but don't allow them to sit on the throne. Do not erase your pain, but let it lead you closer to me. Do not dismiss your failures, but declare that failure does not have the final word. Open your mouth and say, Lord, I choose to believe. Even when I do not understand, I still believe. Even when my heart is weak, I still cling to you. You don't have to wait until everything is good to speak what is good. You can speak truth in the midst of the mess, and that very choice will renew your mind, revive your soul, and mark your journey clearly with my presence. Then others will look at you not to see someone who was never hurt or never stumbled, but to see someone who chose to rise again in grace. Someone who chose the light not because they never saw the darkness, but because they made a decision not to let darkness win. I have left you a very clear instruction. Think about what is pure, what is noble, what is right, what is lovely, what is praiseworthy. I'm not asking you to escape reality. I'm teaching you how to view reality through the lens of life, not death. When you think with my mind, you'll stop distorting every situation into danger and stop magnifying your wounds into your identity. You will learn to see what is growing instead of only what is breaking. And you will realize every positive thought is not a trick from modern culture, but an act of worship. Because when you choose to believe in what is good, you are choosing to believe that I am still at work. When you place your trust in my faithfulness, you are declaring that my plan is greater than the reality you see. Every thought planted in truth is a step of preparing space for my presence to dwell more fully in your life. You've lived many days simply reacting to what others say, to old memories, to unstable emotions. But I am calling you to a deeper place, to live with intention, to live by choice, to live with awakened awareness in your mind. Don't let any thought come and go like a thief in the night. Take each thought captive and ask it, where did you come from? Do you align with the life I'm walking toward? And if the answer is no, you have the authority to reject it, not by the force of your own will, but by the power of my word sown in you. My word is not a dry moral handbook. It is living breath. It is a stream in the desert when your mind feels barren. It is gentle light when the night closes in. It is the reminder when fear begins to whisper. It is truth that still stands even when all your emotions fall apart. Every time you return to my word, you are laying again the foundation of your life. Don't wait until everything collapses to come back. Learn to build each day starting in your thoughts. Because if you train your thoughts to follow truth, your life will follow. And if your life follows, you'll begin to walk in the destiny I've prepared, not because you are strong, but because your mind is no longer bound by what is untrue. The words I've spoken are not just enough to pull you out of darkness, they are enough to keep you alive, strong and unshakable. And if you persist, one day you will look back and see every word I spoke was true. Every effort to renew your mind was not in vain. You'll see the transformation not only in your speech, but in the way you love, in the way you forgive, in the way you face challenges. You will no longer live to react, but to lead. No longer be passive, but become a builder. No longer be tossed by the wind, but walk in enduring peace. Do you know what's happening when you open your mouth to read my word? It's not just reading a few verses as part of a morning routine. No, my child. In that moment, you are reordering your inner world, each thought, each emotion, each restless heartbeat. When you speak the truth, you are uprooting lies that have been buried deep in your heart for years. Lies that once made you afraid to live, that made you feel like you were never enough, that poured shame and self-condemnation into your soul. But now, as your lips echo my word, you're not just reading, you are establishing a new order by divine design, not circumstance. I know you often overlook this. You think reading my word is just a task, just another item on a spiritual checklist. But my child, my word is not just to be studied, it is to be lived. It is breath for your soul, light for your path, and the root system that holds your faith steady when the storms rage. Every time you choose my word over the chaos of the world, you are doing something courageous. You are feeding your faith and starving your fear. Don't wait until everything in your life crumbles to seek my word. Don't wait until your heart breaks, your mind is weary, or your soul is worn out to finally ask, Father, what should I do now? Let my word become the most natural part of your day, like a meal you cannot skip, like the air you breathe. Before your eyes meet the screen, before your ears hear other voices, let your eyes find my word and your heart hear me. Let truth be your steady foundation in a world full of noise. When the world shakes, when others' faith falls like withered leaves, it is my word that will keep your soul standing. You will see that many around you speak up. They speak what they see, what they hear, what they think makes sense. They quote numbers, news analysis, and draw conclusions from what is fleeting. But I have not called you to live like that. I did not design you to live only by sight and sound. I have called you to live by faith. Faith is not fantasy, it is the choice to believe what I have spoken even when everything around says otherwise. True faith begins not in feelings, but in thoughts. And if your thoughts are not grounded in truth, then your faith in me is only a fragile boat on a stormy sea. You cannot sow negative thoughts and expect to harvest a positive life. You cannot feed fear in your heart and pray for courage. You cannot spend the day imagining worst-case scenarios, then ask me for peace at night. Don't let your thoughts and your prayers walk in opposite directions. Many of my children have lost power in prayer, not because I do not hear, but because they've undone their own petitions by thinking contrary to them. I see them. They pray for healing but spend hours imagining the worst outcome. They ask me for hope but still cling tightly to every old fear and disappointment. They call me the Prince of Peace, yet let negative thoughts run wild in their minds every night until even their sleep is restless. My child, I don't condemn them, and I don't condemn you because I know pain can cause doubt. But I don't want you to live this way anymore. I want you to understand that if your mouth is praying, then your mind must walk with the same faith. Learn to let your thoughts walk in agreement with your words, so that your mind and your mouth are no longer at war. Nurture faith not only with long prayers, but with daily choices in your thinking. When negative thoughts rise up, you don't need to panic. Just open your mouth, speak my word, and let the light drive out the darkness. That is how faith grows. That is how the mind is renewed. That is how spiritual life becomes real in your everyday walk. And do you know what happens when you start living this way, when your mind is shaped by truth? You will no longer be easily swayed by feelings or circumstances. The things that used to break you will lose their power. The memories that once imprisoned you will lose their voice. And in the midst of this process, you will realize you are no longer who you used to be. Not because you tried to think more positively, but because truth has done its work, healing, teaching, shaping, and setting you free. So, my beloved child, come back not just with your feet, but with your mind. Do not let your thoughts wander without direction. Do not let your mind become a shelter for fear. I have prepared a place for you, a place of peace within your very soul where my word is light, compass, and breath. Dwell there. Return to it each morning, each night, and even in the most ordinary moments. For it is there that I am waiting not to judge, but to walk with you. My beloved child, what I deeply long for is not merely the prayers that come from your lips, but a renewed heart and a mind attuned to the harmony of heaven. I hear every whispered word, every pain you silently name, yet I also see beyond each syllable and sound, discerning what truly stirs beneath. Are you praying out of faith or out of fear? Are you seeking me or merely seeking a way out? I do not come to judge your answers. I come to take your hand and to teach you this. For prayer to carry power, the mind must first be healed. You cannot live life fully if in your mind you still believe you are small, unheard, unworthy to receive. I never overlook even the frailest faith, but I long to see you rise with a clear recognition of your true identity. You are stronger than you realize, not because you've mastered endurance, but because I live in you. My spirit does not dwell in the perfect, but in those who dare to surrender. I do not come only when you get everything right. I come when you realize you can do nothing right without me, and that's when I move most powerfully. You often think transformation comes through action, but my child, every action begins with a thought. When your mind changes, everything around you begins to change as well. Not because the world is less chaotic, but because you no longer see it through the lens of fear. You begin to see yourself differently, no longer as a burden to be tolerated, but as a gift being unveiled. No longer bowing in apology for your presence, but entering the room with the understanding that you were made to be there to carry the light I placed within you. A renewed mind doesn't simply help you feel better, it makes you someone new. The person I intended before the world began. A person free in thought, no longer chained to the past. A person who speaks life, no longer repeating old verdicts others once placed upon them. A person with clear purpose who knows their voice is not a nuisance but a catalyst for change. A person at rest amidst the unknown, because they know I am there in every unseen step. You cannot go far if you still believe you are unworthy to take the next step. You cannot love others if your mind still harbors hatred toward yourself. You cannot hear me clearly if your thoughts are crowded with accusations. So I want you to begin again, not with what you do but with how you think. Begin each day not with a list of things to accomplish, but with this reminder: I am a beloved child of God, loved, chosen, and anointed for a noble purpose. When you think this way, you will begin to live this way. And child, be intentional. The mind does not renew itself if left unattended. You must guard the gate of your thoughts like a soldier guards a city, not allowing a single foreign idea to enter without scrutiny. Question every thought. Did this come from the Father? Does this reflect truth? If not, cast it out. Do not let a thought live in you just because it feels familiar. Not everything that has repeated in your head is true. I do not call you worthless. I do not tie you to failure. I never strip you of the title worthy, so stop rehearsing things I never said. When guilt rises, declare grace. When anxiety presses in, proclaim the peace already given. When insecurity whispers, respond with my unchanging promise. Do not stay silent when battles rage in your mind. You have spiritual weapons to fight back. And when you are weary, I will fight for you. But don't give up. Every renewed thought is one step closer to the freedom I purchased at a great cost. You are not alone in renewing your mind. I am working in you, day by day, thought by thought, breath by breath. Do not be surprised when you begin to notice the difference. When you no longer react the way you used to, when you speak life instead of fear, when you dare to dream again of things you once feared to imagine. These are signs that your mind is healing, that you are becoming more like me, in thought, in love, in living. And once the mind is renewed, your entire life begins to carry a new fragrance. I call you beloved. When I look at you, I see untapped potential gifts still hidden beneath uncertainty, a world only you can touch with the light I placed in you. So do not shrink back. Do not lock yourself in old definitions. Step forward. not fearing that you are not enough, but knowing that I am more than enough and I live in you. A renewed mind is the first step into the life I've destined for you. Tend to it, guard it, and let me walk with you through every thought. For you are not merely called to live. You are called to live fully with courage, with freedom, and with clear purpose. And it all begins in the innermost place, your mind. I am there, and I will not leave. Your thoughts are not merely fleeting notions. They are quiet prophecies shaping how you live, how you love, how you walk, and how you believe in me. When you begin to realize that you will stop casually speaking things for fun or joking about yourself in self-deprecating ways or disguising negativity as being real, you will start to speak differently, not because you're trying to be positive, but because you are stepping into a right understanding of your true nature in me. Your words are like water. They either refresh the soul or drown the faith. Let them flow with life. Remember, you will believe whatever you hear repeatedly, and no voice is heard more often than your own inner voice. So I invite you to guard not just your spoken words, but also the silent ones you repeat within. Don't say, I'm a failure, I always mess things up, or I'll never change. These words don't just hurt, they blur my image in you. Instead, replace them with truth. I am a new creation. I am forgiven. I am being renewed, day by day. Like seeds planted in good soil, these words will grow strong, bearing sweet fruit in every thought, every action, every step you take. There may be days when you feel like you've regressed, when old thoughts resurface, when disappointment returns. But child, remember that progress is not a straight line. Sometimes a step back is simply preparation for a deeper, stronger leap forward. I am not disappointed by your pace. I only ask that you don't stop. As long as you keep setting my word as your standard, not your emotions, not your circumstances, not others' opinions, then I will keep renewing you, bit by bit, day by day, moment by moment, until your mind is no longer a battleground between light and darkness, but a peaceful place where I dwell, where no wave can shake your peace. When you speak life over yourself, you are not only changing your own life, you are shifting the atmosphere around you. Others will feel it, not because you're trying to show something, but because something deeper is flowing from you. It is my presence released through a mind that has chosen to submit to truth. You don't need to shout to testify about me. Your peaceful silence, when rooted in my word, is strong enough to preach louder than any sermon. My beloved child, when you understand that my love for you is unconditional and unchanging, you will realize that positivity is not a performance you must strain to maintain each day. It is not a mask to hide the storms within, nor a facade to make others believe you are fine. True positivity will flow naturally in your soul like the morning light streaming through the spaces between leaves, like the gentle breath you take without effort. For when your roots grow deep in my word, you will stand firm through every upheaval. No matter how fiercely the winds of life may blow, though your branches may sway, your roots, where I dwell, will not be moved. You will no longer live by fragile emotions, rejoicing today but despairing tomorrow. Instead, you will live in the eternal certainty that you belong to me, that you are safe in my embrace, and that no power in heaven or on earth can snatch you away from that love. Remember, you do not need to seek encouragement in the praise of people or the approval of the world. Such things like foam on the sea appear for a moment and then vanish. If you depend on them to stand firm, you will grow weary and lose your way. But when you let my word be your foundation, you will have a strength that never runs dry. No matter what others say, no matter how circumstances shift, you will remain in peace because you know you never need to prove your worth to anyone. I have already set your value by the life of my only Son. I know there are days when your heart feels low, when sadness or disappointment seeps in like a slow, steady rain. You may seek a quick escape, grasping for temporary remedies to drive the feeling away. But my child, nothing in this world can heal you at the root except me. True positivity is not the world's shallow mantra of everything will be fine, but the deep assurance that all things are in my hands. You may not understand everything happening in your life. There may be questions you have never found answers to. Yet if you trust me, you will no longer tremble before the unknown. You will know that I am the one who sees all, knows all, and works all things for your good even when you do not yet perceive it. This is why you can smile in the storm, why you can stand steady when all around you is shaken. I want you to learn to see life through my eyes. When you see with my eyes, you will understand that no event is meaningless, no pain is wasted. Every tear you shed is gathered by me, every sigh you release is heard by me. I turn what seems like loss into the foundation for something better. And when you believe this positivity is no longer something to practice, it becomes the natural response of a heart at rest in my love. Do not let your soul be ruled by circumstances or by others. For if you let your emotions lead you, you will be like a boat without an anchor, drifting with every wave of praise or criticism. But when you anchor your heart in the truth that I love you and have chosen you, you will stand firm like a rock in the sea, unmoved by the pounding waves. Do not confuse true positivity with blind optimism. Blind optimism sees the crack, but pretends it is not there. True positivity from me looks straight at the crack, yet believes I can turn it into an opening for light to pour through. When you live with this awareness, you will not fear the truth, for you will know that every truth is held in the hands of the faithful one. I desire for you to become someone who plants this kind of positivity into the lives of others. When you have tasted my love, you will be able to give it to weary souls, not with hollow words, but with the very presence and peace you carry. Let my light shine through your smile, through your words, through each act of kindness. Then you will not only live positively for yourself, but become a source of life for those around you. There will be times I allow you to walk through dry deserts, not to harm you, but to teach you that the only living water is found in me. There will be times I let you step into the dark so you can see my light more clearly than ever before. And when you have passed through these seasons, you will understand that the most enduring positivity does not come from wishing for endless sunshine, but from knowing I am present even when the storm clouds gather. Let me be your joy, not circumstances, not people, not success or failure. For if your joy comes from me, it can never be taken away. Even if you lose everything, you can still sing, still give thanks, because you know I will never leave you. My beloved, the world will always have noise, always offer distractions that tempt you to seek positivity in unstable places. But choose instead to be still with me. In that stillness, you will hear my voice more clearly, feel my love more deeply, and walk in a joy no one can take from you. When you let me take the lead in your life, you will find that positivity is no longer a skill you have to learn. It is the inevitable fruit of a heart that has been healed. And when you live from that heart, you will be living proof that my love can transform anything, even what once seemed impossible to change. So stop trying to be positive in your own strength. Let me love you. Let my word flow through every thought, every decision. Then you will no longer need to strain to be okay, for you will have found your true refuge. And from that place, positivity will flow gentle yet powerful, like a stream that never stops because it comes from an eternal source. You belong to me, and that alone is enough for you to live fully every day, no matter what comes. My beloved, each morning when you open your eyes, before your feet touch the floor, before the rush of the world comes flooding in with its noise work and unfinished cares, let your heart say, Lord, today I do not walk alone. Do not let it become a phrase you repeat mindlessly out of habit. Say it with full awareness, knowing that you are placing your hand into the hand of the one who will walk with you through every unexpected turn and along every path you have never yet traveled. That simple sentence will be the anchor holding you steady when sudden winds of doubt or fear begin to blow. There will be mornings when you wake up feeling empty, with not a spark of enthusiasm in your heart, as though every ounce of strength was taken from you in the night. But instead of scrambling to fill that emptiness with work, social media, or anything to distract you, whisper, I know you are doing something I cannot yet see. This is more than a word of encouragement. It is a reminder that my hand is quietly weaving wonders behind the veil of the present. You may not see them yet, but that does not mean I am silent or absent. Some days you will stumble not just once, but many times. They may be the old mistakes repeating themselves, leaving you weary of your own shortcomings or new failures that catch you off guard. In those moments say, I am not defined by this. I am growing. Because, my child, I do not view you through the lens of one bad moment. I see the whole journey you are on. A child learning to walk will fall dozens of times, yet no one declares that child unable to walk. On the contrary, every fall is a step closer to standing firm. And so it is with you. And then when the day draws to a close, when your shoulders ache from the weight they have carried, when your eyes grow tired from trying so hard, say, you are still enough for me even now. This sentence does not demand that you muster one more ounce of energy. It is simply a surrender, a reminder that my love and my strength do not depend on your capacity. You may run out of strength, but I never will. You may be empty of ideas, but I remain full of wisdom. You may feel hollow, but I am always overflowing. These phrases, brief though they seem, are powerful weapons. The world will always try to strangle your hope. It will use negative newswork pressures, empty comparisons, and even the voices inside your head to plant fear, helplessness, or doubt about your worth. But every time you speak these words, you are building a wall of protection around your heart. You are not fighting in your own strength, but in the unchanging truth and love of mine. Think of each of these sentences as a seed planted in the soil of your soul. At first, you may see nothing. But day by day, as you persist, they will sink deep roots into faith, sprout into peace, and grow into strong branches of hope. And one day, even when storms come, those roots will hold you fast. Remember, the words you speak shape the way you see the world. If you let your lips repeat the lines of complaint, I can't do this, or everything is terrible, you will find your mind weighed down heavier each day. But when you choose to speak words woven with truth and faith, your soul will be lifted. This is not about denying reality, but about choosing a higher perspective, the perspective of mine. The change in your spiritual and emotional life will not come from one grand decision, but from small choices repeated daily. These phrases are those small choices. They are how you remind yourself to return to the true source of strength. Just as a soldier never enters battle without his weapon, never step out of bed without carrying these words in your heart. Understand this: when you say, Lord, today I do not walk alone, you are opening the door for my presence to guide your every step. When you say, you are doing something I cannot yet see, you are acknowledging that I work in ways beyond your imagination. When you say, I am growing, you are refusing to let the past define you. And when you say, you are still enough for me, you are resting in my arms no matter the circumstance. These are not magic spells. They will not automatically change everything around you, but they will change the most important thing, what is within you. And when what is inside you changes, the way you face the world will change too. You will no longer react out of fleeting emotions, but will reflect my peace and my love. I know there will be days you do not want to speak these words. Perhaps because of weariness, doubt, or the feeling that they no longer matter. But those are the very days you need them most. Just as a farmer still plants seeds before seeing sprouts, you must plant these words in your soul even before you see results. One day you will look back and realize that it was these small sentences that kept you from falling. Let them become as much a part of your routine as brushing your teeth or washing your face each morning. They will keep your mind clean from the dust of worry and fear. They will be like an invisible armor guarding you from the poisoned arrows of the world. And they will be like a small lamp lighting your path one step at a time, yet always enough to keep you moving forward. My beloved, this world will never lack reasons for you to give up. But I am here to remind you that you never have to walk alone, never have to find the way by yourself, never have to stand in your own limited strength. Every phrase you speak in faith is a declaration to heaven and to hell alike that you belong to me and no power can defeat you. So from morning until night, keep these words as your treasure. Do not only speak them with your lips, let them sink into your bones, become the very rhythm of your heartbeat. And you will see day by day, month by month, year by year, that you are being transformed not into someone who tries to be positive, but into someone who lives in deep peace no matter the storm. And one day, you will hand these same words to someone else, someone weary, lost, and in need of a reason to stand again. Then you will understand that these words not only kept you from falling but made you the hand that helps another rise. Never forget the smallest word spoken in faith can move heaven itself, and when you hold on to them each day you will find yourself walking not only with me but in me. My beloved, I rejoice when I hear you speak those words, not because I need praise or songs to secure my place. I am already whole, lacking nothing. But I rejoice because when you speak them, you are opening the door of your heart for the light of truth to pour in. You are inviting truth into a room once shrouded in the shadows of worry, doubt, and fear. You are allowing yourself to breathe the fresh air of hope and peace, the very atmosphere I have always desired for you to enjoy. Once truth enters, it does not leave. It does not come like a roaring storm that tears everything apart, but like a gentle breeze that softly finds its way into every corner, every hidden space of your heart. It melts away the layers of ice you have carried for years. Ice formed from disappointments, from the harsh words others have spoken over you, from the memories of stumbles you once thought you would never rise from. And then one day you will suddenly realize that everything has changed. Not in the way the world celebrates loud, flashy, and demanding attention, but in a quiet, lasting way from within. Your mind, once a fierce battleground, once the site of endless skirmishes between faith and doubt, between hope and despair, will become as calm as a field ready for harvest. The gunfire, the shouts of old thoughts will give way to the gentle whisper of truth. You will find yourself no longer dragged along by the current of negative thinking. The phrases, "I'm not good enough, I will fail," "no one needs me," will lose their grip on your life. In their place, your mind will become a promised land, a place where you can walk freely, no longer chained by the invisible bonds of the past. Here you will sow new seeds, faith, hope, and love. And from these seeds you will reap a life richer than you ever imagined. This will not happen because you suddenly became stronger than others, nor because you discovered some positive thinking secret, as the books of this world might claim. It will happen because you chose to believe. Believe in my strength, believe in my faithfulness, believe that my word is a foundation that can never be shaken. You have laid down the burden of trying to control everything yourself, and instead allowed me to be your guide. That surrender is your true strength. You see, in this life, your greatest enemy is not your circumstances nor other people, but the lies you have believed about yourself and about me. They work quietly from within, leaving you empty, even when you seem to have everything on the outside. But when you speak words of truth, you are doing the very thing your soul's enemy fears most. You are reshaping the framework of your thoughts. You are refusing to let lies remain challenging them and replacing them with truth. Truth does not need to shout to be powerful. It does not need to argue to prevail. It only needs to be present. And when it is present, darkness disappears on its own. You do not have to strain to push the darkness out. You only have to open the door for the light to enter. And that is exactly what you have done every time you choose to speak my word instead of fears. Picture your mind as a garden. Once it may have been left untended, overgrown with the weeds of doubt, the thorns of bitterness, and the dry, cracked soil of disappointment. Each statement of truth you speak is a new seed planted. At first, you may not notice change. But every day, I, the gardener, tend the soil, water the roots, pull the weeds. In time, you will be astonished to see the transformation, lush, green, and alive, where blossoms of peace and the sweet fruit of hope grow. You will begin to live as a builder, no longer a victim of circumstances or old patterns of thought. Builders do not wait for perfection before they start, they construct, even when the ground is still rough. And you will build your life on my word, one brick at a time, bricks of trust, bricks of gratitude, bricks of patience. That structure will stand firm, not because your hands are flawless, but because its foundation is me. This does not mean you will never face hardship again. There will still be storms, still days of gray skies. But the difference is, you will not be swept away by them. You will know how to anchor yourself, how to hold your peace in the waves. More than that, you will know you are never alone in any circumstance. My beloved, keep opening the door for truth to enter each day. Do not worry if you do not see immediate results. Just as spring comes quietly beneath the earth, Before it bursts forth, your transformation is already underway beneath the surface. One day when you look back, you will see how far you have come. You will see you have changed not by extraordinary effort, but by one steady decision to trust my strength instead of your own. And when that day comes, you will not only be one who receives blessing, but one who brings blessing. You will become a voice of encouragement to weary hearts, a steady hand, lifting those on the verge of falling. The light that has shone within you will shine outward, guiding those wandering in the dark to find their way home. Remember, what delights me most is not that you perform perfectly, but that you return to me and open your heart for truth to enter. For when you do, you are allowing me to complete the work I began in you, a work that will lead you from the battlefield to the promised land, from chains to freedom, from victim to builder. And all of it not by your power, but because you chose to trust mine. My beloved, when you walk through life with each day, each word, each thought anchored fully in me, you are living the very purpose I carried in my heart from the beginning when I formed you. I did not shape you so you would drag yourself wearily through the days, counting each morning, waiting for each nightfall, and calling that living. No, my child, mere existence was never what I designed for you. I created you to bear light, not a light of your own making, but a light that reflects me, so that when the world sees you, they will recognize that I am alive and present. Carrying light is not simply speaking pleasant words or keeping a smile on your face. Carrying light means that when you step into darkness, you do not blend into it, you cause it to retreat. Carrying light means that in your presence, heavy hearts feel lighter, weary minds find direction, and those who thought hope was lost begin to see a glimmer again. This light is not from your own strength, not the result of trying to be more positive or more confident, but from letting me shine through you. Remember, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And I have chosen you to be like a lamp placed high on a stand to give light to everyone in the house. But that light will never burn if you try to fuel it with the short-lived sparks of the world. It can only shine when you remain connected to me, the source that never runs out. You were not called merely to get through challenges. Getting through is only the beginning. I want you not only to walk out of the darkness whole, but to emerge carrying fire. You will not only be a survivor, but a bringer of victory, of healing, of hope to those still trapped. To overcome and then to shine, that is the full circle of meaning. My child, picture a great mountain. Many climb it only to reach the summit. When they arrive, they pause to take in the view, then descend again, carrying the memory for themselves. But that is not the journey I have called you to. I call you so that when you stand at the summit, the light from that height will shine into the valleys below, guiding those who have not yet reached it, showing them that the summit is still there and the path is possible. When you live this way, with each day, each word, each thought woven from my word, you will see that my word is no longer only on the page, no longer only heard in prayer, but becomes your breath, your heartbeat, your natural reflex. You will not merely hear the word or remember the word. Your life itself will become a living letter that anyone can read. Think of a fruit tree. It does not need to hang a sign saying, "I am an apple tree." When the season comes, the fruit appears sweet and full of life. People know it is an apple tree, not because it declares it, but because it bears apples. In the same way, when my word becomes your very substance, you will not need to prove you belong to me. The fruit of love, peace, kindness, patience, and faithfulness will speak for you. I know living this way is not always easy. The world will try to pull you off course with its noise, with its false urgency, with alluring invitations that are hollow inside. There will be days when the light in you feels dim, when the winds of life blow strong, or when you are simply weary. But that is when you must remember, this light does not depend on your ability to maintain it, but on your connection to the source. A lamp cannot keep burning without oil. It must be refilled. So must you come close to me each day to be filled again. Let every word you speak be steeped in my love before it reaches others. Let every thought you nurture be examined under the light of my truth before it shapes your actions. Let every day you live be evidence that I am at work. When you do this, your life will become a song needing no stage, no accompaniment, Yet anyone who hears it will recognize the melody of hope. And here is the wonder: when you live to shine, you yourself will be shined upon even more. Light is never lost when it is shared. Instead, it grows stronger and reaches farther. Every time you encourage someone, every time you listen without judgment, every time you choose forgiveness over holding onto offense, the light within you grows. And as it grows, not only your life, but the very atmosphere around you begins to change. My beloved, this is what I envisioned when I created you, a person alive in my word, saturated with my word, and reflecting my word in even the smallest actions. You will be living proof that truth is not a distant concept, but a power at work in everyday life. You will be the evidence that my love is not confined to sermons, but can be seen in your eyes, heard in your voice, and felt in the way you walk. And one day when you stand before me, I will smile and say, "You lived exactly as I intended. You did not merely exist, you bore light. You did not only overcome, you shone. You did not only hear my word, you became a living part of it. So do not be afraid, my child. Keep living this way each day. Let the light grow, spread, and transform every place your feet tread. And when you live like this, you are not only fulfilling the purpose of your life, you are allowing me to complete the work I began before the foundation of the world. Do not underestimate me. Do not underestimate what I can do in your life with just a small shift starting in your mind. A simple yet powerful movement realigning your thoughts to match the truth. I do not need you to accomplish great feats for a major breakthrough to begin. All I need is a willing mind. A mind ready to let go of old perspectives, to release the limiting definitions of the past, and to believe that you were not born to live as one imprisoned by fear or failure. How many times have you forgotten this? How many times have you stopped just before the door of breakthrough, simply because deep down you no longer believed you were worthy to step through? So many people quit the race, not because they lack ability, but because they give up before they even begin. They disqualify themselves with a single persistent voice in their minds: "I'm not good enough. I'll just fail again. Maybe God didn't choose me." My child, I did not write your story for it to end in hesitation. I did not place you in this world just to struggle through each day. I am training you to live differently, not by your own strength, but by a new awareness, a renewed mind, a fresh perspective saturated in my truth. I am teaching you to see what is possible even when it has never been done before in front of you. I am shaping a vision in you that stretches beyond the limits of what is known. You have been used to thinking like a slave, but I am teaching you to think like an heir. You've been haunted by past mistakes, but I am teaching you to live with expectation of goodness, of faithfulness, of miracles. You are not stuck in the cycle of fear. You are no longer defined by what others have said. You are being remade not by human hands, but by my power from the inside out, beginning in your mind. This is true positive thinking, not blind optimism, not pretending everything is fine. It is faith refined through fire. It is hope that refuses to be crushed by circumstance. It is the ability to see my hand at work, even when everything outside is still chaotic. Positive thinking does not avoid pain. It knows that pain is not the end. It chooses life while death whispers. It declares truth in the midst of lies. It waits not in anxiety, but in steadfastness, fully convinced that I am faithful. So today you have a choice. Choose life by the very way you think. Speak my truth over your situation. Declare my word when fear comes knocking. Silence the whispers of insecurity with promises that never change. You do not have to wait for your emotions to stabilize before acting in faith. You just need to take a step, one thought, one choice at a time. And as you do, I will walk with you step by step. Remember, my word is not just something to read for comfort. My word is not mere repeated phrases of encouragement. My word is life. It is a weapon. It is the blueprint for your destiny. If you let it sink in, not just to your ears, but to your heart, it will begin to do more than you can imagine. It will renew your mind, anchor your heart in peace, and empower you to do things you never thought you could. You are not alone in this journey. Even in the battleground of your thoughts, I am there if you'll let me in. Lean on me not just in action but in thought. Let me guard each idea before it takes root. Let me help you discern what is worthy of dwelling in your heart and what must be cast out. There are thoughts that do not come from me, and you know it. They sow fear, pulling you back into a false comfort zone where there is no growth, no joy, no miracle. But you were not created to live there. You were made to rise, to soar, to shine, to live free. I have not called you merely to survive. I have called you to stand, to mature, to reflect my glory in everything you think, say, and do. But all of that, every part, begins in your mind. You cannot step into a new life with an old way of thinking. So today, once again, I invite you, let me renew your mind. Let me uproot the seeds of fear, the habits of self-diminishing thoughts, the memories that have tried to define you. Let me sow in you what is good, strong, honest, and eternal. And as you walk with me through this renewal, you will be surprised at what I can do not just around you, but within you. What you once thought were weaknesses will become testimonies of my power. Old limitations will become new frontiers. Places once barren will begin to bloom. You will see transformation does not begin outside, but within, when a renewed mind begins to think, speak, and act like someone deeply loved, chosen, and sent. And finally, remember this: I love you, not because of what you do, but because you are mine, and I do not invest my love, my care, and my power into something meaningless. You are part of my eternal plan. I chose you. I equipped you. And I did not do all this just so you could get by. I did it so you could display my glory not through perfection, but through a renewed mind and a heart that knows how deeply it is loved. Now release every worry, breathe out every burden, and with a heart laid bare, lift up your prayer not to ask for more, but to return to the one your soul truly needs. Almighty God, you who know my thoughts before I even think them, I do not come in strength, but in weakness I can no longer hide. My mind, O Lord, has wandered down roads you did not lead. It has fed on fear, on the words of men, on unstable emotions, and now it is exhausted. Please reset the order within me. Teach me how to think as one loved by you, not as one merely trying to survive. Let your word be the first voice I hear each day, and the last I cling to at night. I do not want to just know the truth, I want to live in it. Faithful Father, who has always waited for me, even when I lost my way today, I return not with perfect answers, but with unanswered questions. I give you every shattered piece of my mind, parts worn down by comparison, shame, and failure. Please cleanse them. So once again, thoughts born from life, not from bias, not from lies. I've listened to the wrong voice for too long now. I choose yours. Even if it's just one slow step, I want to move toward you where peace is no longer theory but reality. Loving Lord, you who never abandon what you begin. I know I cannot save my mind from silent battles, but I believe you can. Step into this inner ground, the quiet place raging with storms. Be the king of my thoughts. Help me notice when an idea not from you sneaks into my heart. Teach me to distinguish between what is truth and what is fleeting emotion. I long for a renewed mind, not so others see me as better, but because I want to be closer to you every day. Father, my heart overflows with gratitude for your patience. I have turned away, I have doubted, I have run, and yet you never shut the door. Each time I've been confused, you waited. Each time I've grown tired, you didn't let go. Each time I've doubted, you whispered truth. I thank you that your love is not based on my behavior. Thank you for not growing weary of healing me, even when there are parts in me that need healing again and again. You do not give up, and because of that today I have hope. Thank you, Lord, that in a world constantly demanding proof of my worth, you choose to love me unconditionally. I praise you that I don't have to be the most perfect or the most successful to be held in your arms. Your love has freed me from the burden of having to measure up. Thank you that I am allowed to live honestly, to feel tired, to break, and to begin again. You never abandoned me. You never said, "That's enough." You said, "Come, I'm still here." Father, I thank you that you do not walk away even when I can no longer believe in myself. When my mind is dry and desolate, you still plant your word there. When I cannot imagine anything good, you still believe in good plans for me. When I think my time is up, you open a new season. I thank you that truth is not shaken by my emotions. Thank you that your mercies are new every morning, and because you never change, I can continue to hope, continue to stand, continue to live. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we can build a strong community of faith.